Everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So the market has been doing the exact same thing basically every single week in September. So the trend is that buyers are active, but we are still seeing a lot of listings hitting the market. So this week in Georgetown, we only had 9 sales, which is I think the slowest week we saw in all of September. But again, things are still moving, lots in the sold conditional status. So the buyers are active right now. The bad news is that we had 17 new listings. So our listings are still far outpacing our sales, and it doesn't feel like that's really slowing down. In Acton this week, we had 1 sale and 5 new listings. So same story in Acton. Glen Williams saw 1 sale and 1 new listing, so steady there. And the rural market did see 2 sales. So that is good news because usually the rural market really dies off when our other inventories are saturated. So 2 sales I'm going to take as a win for the rural market this week, but there were 5 new listings. So again, we're just seeing more listings and then sales happening. In terms of properties that came off the market, relisted, etc., we had 21 properties that relisted at a lower price. That is quite a high number to be shifting their price. And this doesn't include the people that just like do a price drop and don't relist. So there's even more of that happening. This is just a strategy that more people use to freshen up the listing. So 21 properties came on fresh at a new price. 5 completely came off the market, and 1 had a failed offer night and relisted at a higher price. So not as many properties came off the market this week, so we did see inventory climb, so I'll roll into that. In all of Halton Hills, we went up from 280 to 289 active listings this week. We are not at that 300 mark yet, but we are getting very close. Another big week and we could be hitting that. So 289 active listings, that is a lot for Georgetown. If you guys haven't always been following this, just to give context, outside of 2025, our previous high for all of Halton Hills was 232 active listings. And a few times this year, we have been around that 300 and at some points above that. So our inventory has taken a significant jump in 2025, which is why we have seen prices come down so dramatically this year. In Georgetown this week, we are up from 166 to 171 active listings, just an insane number for Georgetown. In the price points, under 800,000 remained the same at 27 active listings. 800 to $1 million is up slightly to 46. There's so much stuff available in that pocket. But in the other pocket, 1 to 1.5 million, our crazy saturated pocket, that is up only 1 from 75 to 76 active listings, but just so high. Like if you have a budget between 1 and 1.5 million, like I feel like you could go look at like 30 properties. There's just so much of what feels like the same product available, especially in Georgetown South. 1.5 million plus this week is up slightly from 20 to 22 active listings. I'm really interested to see how next week's September numbers completely pan out, only because I do think we had some higher sales than we had been seeing in previous months. Like quite a few properties over $2 million sold last month out of nowhere. So I'm curious how much that brought our average price point up. I'll have those numbers next week. In Acton this week, we are up from 32 to 38 active listings. So inventory is sitting pretty high there. Glen Williams remained the same at 12, and the rural market is up slightly from 66 to 68 active listings. So rural is so saturated. Like I was talking about earlier, when we, had our previous highs outside of 2025, the rural market never really hit over 40 active listings. So to be at 68 right now is a real problem for the sellers in that market. And then, like I said, it does not help when we have tons of inventory in the in-town markets, because rural is usually a secondary thought for people. So not great news for the rural market. So this week we saw the trends pretty much remain the same through September. I think our silver lining with September is the buyers were active. There was showings, there was multiple offers on properties, there was sales. Most importantly, there was sales. So I will have the final September numbers next week, but I do think our units sold is going to be up. Maybe not from August. August was pretty high, but it should be up compared to the first half of the year. And I am, like I talked about, interested to see how those prices fall. So I'll be back next week with September's numbers. I hope you all have a great week.